Is Boston quietly setting the stage for a blockbuster deal, or dangerously overplaying their hand? A trade just shook the NBA. Desmond Bane to Orlando. But while the spotlight briefly flickers toward the Magic and Grizzlies, there's something far more strategic unfolding in the shadows. The Boston Celtics just said no to the Sacramento Kings. Not a counteroffer, not a negotiation, a flat-out rejection. And the target of that failed proposal, Jrue Holiday. At first glance, it sounds simple, but in the high-stakes world of NBA offseason warfare, what a team rejects says more about their long-term strategy than what they accept. And in this case, Boston's refusal might be the biggest hint yet that something massive is brewing behind the scenes. Why would a team like Boston, under second-apron pressure, managing Tatum's recovery and navigating luxury tax disaster, turn down any offer for a 34-year-old veteran with an expiring contract? Because that wasn't just any veteran, and that wasn't just any offer. Holiday's trade value isn't declining, it's quietly surging. Behind the scenes, multiple Western Conference teams are engaged in a silent arms race for control of the half-court. Defense is the new currency, and no one in the league guards stars quite like Jrue. He shut down Jamal Murray, he flustered Luka, Doncic, and even in his mid-30s, coaches trust him to run the floor like a chessboard. That kind of control is rare, and in the playoffs, it's everything. So let's be brutally honest. Sacramento was never the real buyer here. They were the low-ball starter, the first phone call, the easy no. Boston just used the Kings to drive the price up. What exactly did the Kings offer? League insiders won't reveal names, but logic gives us a clue. The only point guards they had, in rotation, were Markelle Fultz and rookie Devin Carter, neither close to Holiday's level. So what were they proposing? Picks? A role player like Kevin Huerter, the expiring contract of Harrison Barnes. If that's the best the Kings could muster, then this wasn't a trade proposal. It was a test balloon, and Boston popped it without blinking. But here's the twist. Was that rejection a sign of strength or desperation? Boston knows they need to move Holiday soon. His trade value is peaking now, and his contract becomes harder to maneuver as the summer rolls on. But if they miscalculate the market and scare off real suitors by asking for too much, they might find themselves stuck with an aging guard, a bloated payroll, and a roster in flux. That's the razor's edge Boston is walking. And they're betting big that someone, maybe Dallas, maybe the Clippers, will blink first. Let's cut through the noise. Boston isn't looking for depth. They're looking for leverage. They want a younger, more durable guard who can thrive next to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum when fully healthy. They want cap flexibility. And they want draft picks, not to rebuild, but to package into another deal down the line. So unless a team comes with a guard who can start tomorrow and future draft capital, Boston will keep playing hardball. Make no mistake, this isn't just about Boston's next move. The entire Western Conference is waiting for Holiday to land. Why? Because whichever contender adds Jrue Holiday instantly gains a playoff weapon capable of flipping a series. The Clippers want to finally stabilize their backcourt after years of Russell Westbrook chaos. The Mavericks are desperate to shield Luka on defense without killing their spacing. Even the Pelicans have kicked the tires, quietly eyeing a reunion if they move off CJ McCollum. Are the Celtics about to let their future slip away? Why Boston's hesitation could cost them the one player built to anchor a post-Porzingis era. Here's the shocking truth few are confronting in Boston. While the fanbase dreams of luxury tax, gymnastics, and draft day miracles, the real future of the franchise might already be slipping through their fingers. And his name is Walker Kessler. The Utah Jazz have quietly put Kessler on the trade block, and instead of Boston pouncing, there's only silence. That should terrify anyone who's paying attention, because this isn't just another trade rumor. This is a franchise-defining opportunity wrapped in a short window of availability. And ignoring it might be the move Boston regrets for the next decade. Kessler isn't a nice fit. He's the missing piece. At first glance, Walker Kessler might look like just another rim protector. Good size, decent rebounding, occasional highlight block. But this is where most fans and even some execs stop looking. Because underneath those box score numbers is a blueprint for the modern NBA center Boston still doesn't have. Shams Charania has already hinted that Boston is shopping Kristaps Porzingis, Jrue Holiday, and Sam Hauser. That raises a blunt, uncomfortable question. Why are the Celtics ready to move off Porzingis, but not positioning for his replacement? It makes no sense. Unless you accept one brutal possibility, the Celtics front office may be too focused on cap flexibility to see the forest. For the trees, Kessler is still on his rookie deal. His price tag? Dirt cheap. His production? Elite rim protection. Great instincts in the pick and roll. High character. Low usage. All perfect traits for complementing Tatum and Brown. This isn't just a fit, it's a steal waiting to happen. Let's not pretend this is just about basketball fit. This is also about relationships. Danny Ainge built the Celtics roster that won in 2024. His son, Austin Ainge, is still in the Celtics front office. If there's any path to a favorable deal with Utah, it's through this father-son pipeline. That's rare leverage. Most teams don't get that chance. But leverage unused is leverage wasted. And with Kessler likely drawing attention from teams like the Thunder, Bulls, and Raptors, all armed with younger assets and more cap space, Boston can't afford to hesitate. Here's the harsh math. Kessler's value is high, but not unreachable. The Jazz are rebuilding. They want draft capital, and Boston holds the 28th and 32nd picks in this year's draft. Add in a player like Peyton Pritchard or even Oshae Brissett for salary matching, and you're close. Yes, Boston would likely need to promise Kessler an extension next summer, but isn't that exactly the kind of long-term investment they need if they want to build a sustainable core around Tatum and Brown? The bigger picture, a dangerous pattern. Zoom out. What do you see? A pattern of hesitation. Last summer, Boston nearly missed out on Jrue Holiday. They let Grant Williams walk for nothing. They refused to seriously pursue an elite backup big, despite Porzingis' injury history screaming for it. Now, they might miss out on a 23-year-old defensive anchor with a bargain contract because he doesn't fit their K-Hap spreadsheet neatly? That's not strategy. That's short-sightedness masquerading as discipline. The Celtics are entering a volatile era. Tatum's Achilles injury adds layers of uncertainty. Al Horford is likely gone. Porzingis remains a health gamble. Brown is coming off a historic playoff run and needs a true defensive partner to anchor the interior so he can thrive on the perimeter. Kessler isn't a luxury. He's an identity reset, a bet on youth, a pivot toward defensive dominance, a commitment to protecting the paint in a league that's increasingly favoring slashers, second-chance scoring, and vertical threats. Is Boston quietly preparing to say goodbye to a franchise pillar? What if the most underrated collapse of the Celtics dynasty isn't about Tatum's injury, but about the silent exit of their most stabilizing force? Al Horford's name rarely leads headlines, and yet, behind closed doors, his departure could represent the deepest structural crack in the Celtics' title window. What started as quiet murmurs in the offseason has now grown into something much louder. Boston might be on the verge of losing the player who has silently kept their interior defense, locker room chemistry, and offensive rhythm alive. And here's the twist that no one is talking about. This isn't just about age or decline. This is about timing, politics, and betrayal. The Celtics are caught in a bind, not because they want to change their roster, but because the new CBA forces them to. Deep into the second tax apron, Boston is now being punished for its own success. And as they prioritize cap flexibility to secure long-term deals for their younger stars, veterans like Horford become disposable? It raises a chilling question. Are the Celtics subtly pushing out the very player who helped save their 2024 championship run? If so, what message does that send to the locker room? And what does it mean for Boston's identity? Jason Tatum's Achilles injury changed everything. With their franchise cornerstone facing a long recovery and uncertainty hanging over the 2025 season, the Celtics' path to contention got blurry. Suddenly, the question isn't just can we win next year, but should we even try to? That philosophical shift hits veterans like Horford the hardest. Why would a 38-year-old sacrifice one of his final seasons for a team that might be in limbo? In an emotional interview weeks ago, Horford admitted, Retirement is closer than people think. I've thought about it more than ever this season, but if I still believe I can win, that changes everything. What's implied there is explosive. He's not necessarily loyal to Boston anymore. He's loyal to winning. Here's where things get really uncomfortable for Celtics fans. League sources indicate that multiple contenders, including the Thunder, Nuggets, and even the Lakers, have quietly shown interest in Horford's services. And why wouldn't they? He's still one of the most switchable defenders in the NBA, a calming force in high-pressure situations, and a playoff-tested leader. If Boston lets him walk, they might not just be losing a bench piece. They could be empowering a future playoff opponent. Imagine Horford hitting a dagger 3 in TD Garden, wearing purple and gold. It sounds unthinkable, but is it? There's another layer to all this. What if the Celtics front office is making a catastrophic miscalculation? Letting Horford walk or retire in silence might seem like a cap-clearing necessity, but it could send a message of instability to the rest of the roster, especially to players like Jrue Holiday and even Jaylen Brown, who have come to rely on Horford's leadership during tense postseason battles. Without him, who's the locker room voice in the chaos? Who's the defensive quarterback when the floor stretches and rotations get tight? And most of all, who steps in when adversity hits and everyone else tightens up?